Hi, my name is Cassandra Reagan. I am a certified Optavia health coach, independent, and I am just going to tell you my story because I wasn't always a health coach. I wasn't always a client. I actually have a story, and just like all of you have a story. And my story actually began 20 years ago. I struggled with my weight. I had an undiagnosed endocrine disorder, which actually made weight gain really, really easy. It made losing weight incredibly difficult. It was an insulin resistant disorder called polycystic ovary syndrome. And I battled from around the age of 19 all the way to almost 40 with my weight. I was 100 pounds overweight multiple times in my life. I would have temporary success doing drastic things, and that became my pattern. Because of my endocrine disorder and because of my poor health, my skin was destroyed with acne and all kinds of just really difficult things for a young woman to go through in the peak of her youth. I would lose 80 pounds, gain back 90. I would lose 100 pounds, gain back 70. This was just my life for almost 20 years. And so I met my husband. I had three beautiful children. Around the age of 30, I watched my mother-in-law die of diabetes related complications 7 weeks after my first child was born at the age of 54. So she left her children orphans while they were still in their late 20s. And so I didn't want that for me. I didn't want to leave my sons orphans. And I was rapidly approaching that. I was 38, 39, and I had pre-diabetes. Really, I was probably diabetic, but in denial. Most people are. I had a fatty liver, and fatty liver is one of the number one causes of cirrhosis, liver cirrhosis, that most people don't realize. I had horrible liver enzymes. My cholesterol was crazy. And what I saw was a future where I just perpetuated that generational cycle of leaving my children too early. And so I was rapidly approaching 40, and I didn't want to live the second half of my life with the quality of life I'd had for the last 20 years. I didn't want that to be my future. And so I was pretty desperate. And let me just show you. I'll show you kind of where I was. If you can just bear with me really quick, I'm going to show you some slides. Okay. So this is me with a friend's baby. I was incredibly obese, dealing with hormonal issues, a lot of things that I'm not going to get into here. This was me at an event that radically changed my life. And honestly, it was the beginning of the mindset shift that I needed. But I was probably 260 pounds here. This was me at a birthday. Friends showed up, took me to, I think it might have been maybe my 35th birthday. I was mortified. I hated pictures. I knew it was my birthday. I didn't want my picture taken, but they'd made the effort to make it special for me. And this is just a close-up picture of just where I lived. My face was swollen. My eyes were swollen. I remember when my husband was in the military, I had to go get a military ID, and Marines aren't the nicest. And I smiled for my picture. And then I asked the Marine who took my picture if, how was the picture? Because I didn't want my eyes closed. And he says, "You look Chinese." And he did a face to mock me because my eyes were squinty because I had so much weight. When you smile, your eyes become very squinty. So that's kind of where I was physically. That's where I was emotionally, not wanting to die and leave my children orphans. I wanted to see them graduate high school and get married and have children. And I wanted to be there for my grandchildren, but I have three boys. And so I wanted to be able to roll on the floor with them and wrestle and go hiking and do activity. I played basketball in high school. I wanted to live a life where I could go outside and shoot hoops with my kids. But I was in an even worse place than that. I couldn't wash dishes without my neck neck and my shoulders and my back killing me and having to lean over the sink. Going in the grocery store, pushing my buggy. I had to lean on the buggy because of my back, because of the weight pulling on me. My house was in shambles because the physical energy and effort it took to get myself 260 pounds off the couch was a massive amount of energy. The physical strength to carry 260 pounds was almost more than I could endure. I definitely struggled to pick up my children's toys and to get up and take care of them the way a mother should. And so that is the world I was living in. And so in 2017, I hadn't found this program yet. And I was praying with my husband, and I was desperate. I mean, desperate. Desperate for my life, desperate for my future. And so I did the most desperate thing you can do to lose weight. And I ended up having bariatric surgery. Now, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of what kind, all of that jazz. Just know that I ended up going under the knife to save my life. And I remember them rolling me into the surgical suite. And I remember I was crying. I wasn't boohooing, but my eyes wouldn't stop dripping. And the nurses were patting me, saying, honey, it's going to be okay. And I just remember praying and asking the Lord to let me survive the surgery because my boys needed me. And I did. Obviously, I'm here. It was a very painful moment of saying, how did I get here? And I can't believe I'm actually putting my life in danger, but I don't know what else to do. And so I got through it. Now, before that surgery, I had to take a nutrition class. And essentially in the nutrition class, they said a few things. They said, the first year you're going to lose weight no matter what. They said, you can eat pizza and lose weight. But after a year, if you haven't put certain healthy habits into place, it's not a matter of if you have bariatric regain, it's when. No one wants to hear that, because if they had been able to do that before they wouldn't be needing the surgery, right? And so I lost about 90 pounds, 95 pounds maybe with the surgery. But I wasn't hungry because they took half my stomach and took a gland that for about a year that makes you not hungry if it's missing. And I lost quite a bit of weight that first year, but I didn't eat. I wasn't hungry. And so I probably ate twice a day, maybe 700 calories. And so essentially I destroyed my metabolism. So almost a year to the day of my surgery, I started to be hungry again, which kind of freaked me out. And I didn't eat a lot extra, but I started eating more. I started falling into bad habits, which were nighttime eating, grazing, popping things in my mouth a little bit at a time because I had a smaller stomach, but you could just fit a lot of stuff in there a little bit at a time. And started noticing that my restriction in my stomach was actually getting bigger, and I was being able to eat more and more till fast forward today, I can eat almost as much as I ever did. And so I started regaining, and I flipped out, started doing all the old diets, keto, all those things. And I would lose 4 pounds in 3 months. And that's all. And I was doing it perfectly. And then I would throw in the towel and just do what I wanted and gain 8. So then I would freak out again and do all the things and lose 4 pounds and then give up and gain 10. So it was this back and forth until about 3 years later. Fast forward to the middle of the pandemic. It was May of 2020. And I was crying out for a couple of things. One, my husband his company had folded after we bought a house the year before. So we needed provision for our family so we could pay our mortgage. 2, I needed provision for my health. I was in a place where probably more hopeless than before at 100 pounds overweight. I was more hopeless at about 40 pounds of bariatric regain than 100 pounds overweight, because I had done the most drastic thing you can do to lose weight and it had failed. So what was left? If surgery failed, what was left? And I really believed that there was nothing left for me. I was just hopeless. This is how it was going to be. And so I had heard about this plan from a friend at church who had lost 100 pounds the year before. And I reached out to her coach, not for me. Remember, I didn't think anything was going to work for me. Actually, I reached out for my husband, who was a pretty and is a diabetic. And so his sugar numbers were crazy. And I'd heard that this program was really good for diabetics, and it is. And so I reached out to her for him to get him on plan. And a month later, he got on plan. And essentially, when he lost 8 pounds his first week for the first time in a very long time, I thought, maybe this will work for me. So I decided to try one last thing, and I lost 4 pounds my first week. Now, 4 pounds does not sound like a lot, maybe to you, but that's that same 4 pounds that I had been trying to lose for 3 years. And so I lost 10 pounds my first month. I'm thrilled. I got all my bariatric regain off in about 4 months. And then I got to goal. I'd never gotten to goal in my life with any plan. I didn't get to goal with bariatric surgery. I had never gotten to goal. Then I got 5 pounds below goal, and I've maintained for over 2 years. And see, those things are things I've never done. I've never maintained with anything. I've never gotten to goal with anything. And because I had to eventually do what they said, I had to establish habits, transform my habits, establish nutrition, get more active, drink my water, all the things they told me that I was going to have to do to have long-term success. I've had to do those things. But the beauty is that we have a system that is simple. You don't have to think about it, and you transform your habits in the process. And so just to show you my life since, let me share my screen again. So that's where we left off. Oh, and there's a little process, but it was a process. I'm not as high as I was, but then I started on my plan. I started being more active. I started having physical milestones. When you're 260 pounds, you're not going to go for a walk because you can't get off the couch. I started, documenting my success because I believed, look, you're not going to document success, your progress, if you don't think you're going to have success, because you don't want to see that you failed. But as you begin to hope again, you begin to believe again. So you want to document your success because you believe it's going to happen. So this is me documenting my success. So this is things that I would have never have done at 260 pounds. I climbed a mountain in Colorado, you guys, and I documented it. I was able to go on a mission trip and speak at a conference and then go serve in the community, things I wouldn't have had the physical strength to do or energy to do. I started going on vacations. Do you know vacation is very different when you feel good about yourself? You don't want to just stay in your room. I started just being more excited that I had my youth back. I didn't have 20s. I was 100 pounds overweight with destroyed skin in my 20s. Suddenly, I'm having some of my youth back. And I have peace. I don't know if you can see in the difference between these two pictures, but there's a lot more peace. Not because the weight, but because it wasn't even on my mind anymore. When you're 200 pounds overweight or 100 pounds overweight, it colors every moment of your life. What am I going to wear? There's nothing to wear. Who am I going to run into? Rolling over in bed is a chore. Getting up off the couch, it colors everything. When that is not even on your mind anymore, the thought of going to the store isn't tainted with the fear of who may see you. There's a level of peace that you can't imagine. And so that is my story. I am 2 years into my journey, perfect blood work, no fatty liver, no longer diabetic or pre-diabetic. I'm on 0 medications, just vitamins, eating as much as I did before. Like, I can eat as much, but I choose to have moderation and live my life with healthy habits that lead to health and vitality. And so, this plan radically changed my life. I obviously ended up being a coach because this is the thing. When you find something that that is a tool that radically transforms your life, you want to go preach the good news of it, right? You want to help other people. And essentially that was what happened with me. God gave me, he answered the deep cry of my heart. He gave me a tool. And now I want to share that tool with other people. And so it has radically transformed my health, my relationships, our finances. It has just been the gift that I never knew I needed. I knew I needed something, but I didn't know it was this. So I just hope that you have taken something of what I've said and that it's moved you and that it's resonated with you. And I just wish you all the blessings on your health journey and pray that you can find hope again. Because I will tell you, you have a coach who will believe for you. So, because this is the thing, when your belief has been shaken or broken because of past failure or current experience, then your hope is shaken. But if you can find someone who can believe for you until you begin to have success, then you can believe for yourself. And then once you start believing, then your hope is reignited. So my desire for you is that your hope will be restored, and your health will be restored. Blessings on your day.